So joining us on the Celebrity Couch today, we have
Kent George Lambert.
full name.
I know, middle name and everything.
You're not related to Mr. Lambert, the singer, are you?
No, like Adam.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Nor Christopher Lambert, the actor
Oh, yes.
of Highlander fame. Neither. Although, to be fair, he actually prefers his name to be said in the French. Christophe Lambert.
Kent, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I own a beard company. I make men's grooming products, handmade, organic, natural men's grooming products. Graduated to Whakari in 2002. Always wanted to be an actor. Have worked on a number of films and a number of short films and stuff over the years.
Tell us about that big, luscious beard of yours. Why did you grow it? Why have you kept it?
Why did I grow it? I used to be a seasonal beard grower in that I'd grow my beard over winter and then shave it off over summer. Grow it in winter, shave it off over summer. Then my dad died, which is a weird intro, but that's the story really. Dad died. It was unexpected. It was expected that he was going to die, but not so quickly. He had stage 4 lung cancer, and he had a pneumoectomy, removal of one of your lungs a year before, and then the cancer, as it so often does, came back, and it was more virulent than it was beforehand. So they gave him 6 months from that point, and he died within 6 weeks. And so I wasn't really prepared for it. I was doing a solo stand-up show at Kitty O'Shea's, and it was going really well. I got good reviews and everything went well, and the idea was to finish that up and then go over and spend a couple of months with Dad while he still had a couple of months left. And then the night that I finished the show, the next morning, my sister called and said, "Look, if you're gonna come over and see Dad, you got to do it like now, because he's in the hospital and he might not make it." So I got the next plane ticket to Brisbane, which is where they were living at that time, and genuinely the next one. This was like 8:00 in the morning, and the next ticket to Brisbane was 10:30 that morning. So I got the next one, packed my bags, got to the airport, and he died when I was in the waiting room in Wellington Airport, so I didn't even get onto the plane to get to Brisbane. So I got to Brisbane, pretty sort of devastated really, because I didn't get to say bye. I didn't get to do the things that I expected to be able to do. I went into the morgue where he was laid out and just wailed on him, beat the shit out of him. I was really angry. Which is weird, the corpse of your father laying there, and I was just yelling at him and screaming at him and just, why? And I was really upset about it. It was quite horrific. And for about sort of the few weeks or so, or month before that, he'd been talking about doing his last will and testament, and I do accept that it was something he wanted to finish, but he just never did. He didn't get his affairs in order, so no one had done that. So I decided to stay around in Brisbane and do that. So I went and studied all the law around what you had to do with a estate, and what you had to do with like a corpse. And because none of that was paid for and none of that was done, and I wanted to get it done the cheapest possible way. And you go to an undertaker, a funeral director, and the cheapest thing they have is like $5,500, $6,000. I'm like, that's a big chunk of money, man. But I found out, if you don't buy an urn, and if you don't have them have a service for you. And if you don't want the body embalmed, and if you don't want a fancy casket, and if you can just put them in a cardboard sleeve and get them cremated, and get the ashes brought out in a cardboard box, and then I did the Master of Ceremonies and everything for the funeral. You can do the whole thing for about $600. So done, $600. Ran the funeral once over in Brisbane and then once back here in New Zealand in Masterton where he grew up, so that we could do that. And the whole thing, I think, cost about $1,500 or something, all up. And while I was over there in Brisbane, sorting all this shit out, my beard grew longer, and one of the things with grief is that you tend to hold on to stuff, even as I found out, like facial hair. So you just don't shave when you're in like the throes of grief, quite commonly. So I didn't. Hot, humid climate, getting really itchy, beard dandruffy. So I looked up online how to get rid of beard dandruff, and they said use beard oil. I'm like, well, where do I get beard oil? Nowhere in New Zealand, nowhere in Australia. So I bought some from the States, and it cost about, 65, 68 New Zealand dollars to get it into New Zealand. And it worked good, but then I realised after 3 months when it was all gone, that I have to go and do that again, and that was a bit much money, really, $68. So I thought I'd make my own. I thought I could make it for much cheaper than that. Turned out I couldn't. The first 3 bottles of beard oil that I made cost me about $80 a bottle. But that was because I was buying like tiny bits of this much. In fact, the first time I bought vitamin E oil, I bought it in capsules and then poked the capsules with a pin and then dripped that out into the bottles. Little bits of argan oil, little bits of jojoba oil, little bits of almond oil. Now I know my secret. That's all the things that go into it, plus essential oils. You can make it yourself. And it's expensive. But after I started making it more often, and I had a few friends that said, look, it's really good shit. After I made it for them, they were like, oh, cool. And I thought, well, if my friends like it and I like it, maybe there's a market for it. And so I took it to the Wellington 9 market and started selling for $20 a bottle. And I thought, well, if I can, sell 5 or 6 of them, I can make myself beer money for the week. And I took 20 bottles to that first night market and sold 19 of them. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good, $180 minus the $30 or $40 it cost me to buy the ingredients. I thought, well, that's quite a lot of beer for the week. And that's how it happened. That's how I grew the beer and started the company, really.
I also see that you work as a tour guide. So what's a typical day in that kind of field?
Crack a few jokes, talk about acting, talk a bit about myself, talk a bit about Wellington and the movie culture in Wellington. It's a summer job, and when you're an actor and you often work other jobs, and I don't really need the money at all, but it's a way of me getting out of the office and getting away from buying and selling beard oil and doing something a little bit more fun, and so I do it. I do it, and it doesn't pay enormously, but on a day where you get a lot of tips, and I get a lot of tips, I probably make more in tips than I do on the, for wages for the day. So that makes it worthwhile. Again, it's beer money again. And, Yeah, just a little bit of extra spending money talking about Lord of the Rings. I happen to be in all 6 of the Middle Earth movies that have been made in New Zealand. So I played an Uruk-hai in the first 3 Lord of the Rings movies, and that was fun. Working on the Battle of Helm's Deep and the battle for the Fields of Pelennor as well. And then I played the wide shot body double for Bombur in all of the Hobbit movies as well, and so that was equally interesting and fun. Working on a big production like that is very different to most things you do. You get paid mostly for sitting around and drinking coffee, which is fine.
So did you have to do that? The favourite scene that everybody loves, where they have to run away from the wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many days? And tell us about that experience, because I know a lot of the actors have said that they didn't like it because it was quite demanding.
Yeah, if you talk to other like body doubles that were doing it or something.
Well, the actors have always mentioned it, like Armageddon and stuff. So
right. Yeah.
Scene 66 was the worst.
Yeah, Scene 66. Scene 66. So Scene 66 you won't see in the movie, right? It's just like actors running away from shit. That's all it is. So Scene 66 is just actors. So you actors running away from wargs. That's Scene 66. Actors running away from goblins. That's Scene 66. Actors running away from orcs. Scene 66. It's all the same. It's just Scene 66. Just running across different backgrounds, being chased by people you can't see because they're not there. Obviously, the point is just to run. Yeah, it's bizarre, and we did the major. It's funny that the main actors get to complain about that because we did the extras did most of it, like 40 days or something, just running, running through creeks and running over, mountains and running through snow and running. I mean, it was cool. We got picked up in a helicopter in the morning and got flying over some of the most beautiful snow-capped mountains and beautiful verdant valleys with like crystal clear blue lakes. Fly up, get landed on the side of a mountain, and everyone gets out. I'm in this massive fat suit, like 35 kgs, like 70 pounds worth of fat suit every day. You couldn't piss in. You couldn't do anything in it. I get to the side of the mountain, and the sun's shining, birds are singing. It's beautiful, it's stunning, absolutely gorgeous. Some of the most beautiful scenery in New Zealand, which, for my mind, is some of the most beautiful scenery in the world. And you get there, and it's early in the morning, and it's crisp. It's like 6:30 or something, and just one of those perfect sparkling days. And so, what are we doing today? I'll sing 66. Shit. This is rubbish. Just absolute shit. Run around this beautiful scenery all day. But it's it was fine. It was fine. You get fed really well when you're on the set of a major motion picture. And you think running around after like 10 days or 20 days you'd lose a bunch of weight. I think the first 20 days I was on set, I put on 2 kgs just because of the food, all the just constant food. Like, it's food, and you get like massive buffet breakfasts and lunches and dinners, and then you get like they keep bringing you food when you're on set. Oh, would you like a banana or something? Oh yeah, okay, banana, sure. Cookie. Oh yeah, I like cookie. Yeah. And they just keep. Because it's, multi-millions of dollars, $300 million you have to spend. It's got to go somewhere. Yes, I mean, when you have to spend $300 million, it's got to go somewhere. And the unit and the catering is a big part of that, and I thought that was a pretty good idea.
So, I suppose, along with Damien and along with Des, If you want to see a second part of this interview with Kent talking about, the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit and all the other experiences and King Kong with Jack Black, then hashtag second interview with Kent. So what's coming up for Mr. Lambert?
I think a lot more getting back on stage and doing comedy for the main. I've serious about writing another hour special, which I haven't done in a number of years. So look out for the New Zealand Comedy Festival, not the one coming up, but next year. I'll be working at a number of the comedy clubs around town. There's 3 that happen every week, and one that happens once a month. I'll be working out a whole bunch of new material and working through that. Hopefully the Middle Earth Lord of the Rings thing comes through. That'd be really nice. You can hear my voice on TV and radio at the moment. I am the voice of Maltine. Maltine, New Zealand's leading 5-in-1 clostridial vaccine. So, if you're watching the All Blacks or anything to do with the country, if you're watching Country Calendar or whatever, and the Maltine ad comes on, it's a vaccine for cattle, yeah. And cattle and lambs. If that comes on, that's my voice, so that's a interesting gig. I've been doing quite a bit of voiceover work lately, and it's good, it's fun.
With that in mind, I think I've had enough listening to your voice for now.
Fair enough.
Let alone being on the radio and TV. So before we conclude, is there anything that you'd like to add?
No, I think I'm good. You can check out my Instagram at Beardy Kent, which is fun. Lambert's Luscious, www.lbo.co.nz is the website if you're looking for some premium products. And just keep an eye out if you're around Wellington for local comedy. We don't get along. We talk a big game about get along and supporting the arts in Wellington. But unfortunately, local comedy sort of languishes. We don't really get the audiences. So if you like to laugh, there's some really funny people in Wellington. Get along and support those. Yeah, so if you've enjoyed this and if you like what Axel's doing, share, subscribe, comment all over this shit.
And remember, if you want to hear us ramble on again, hashtag second interview with Ken. Now, if you want to see me take season 3 on the road, potentially in Auckland, where I have some awesome contacts, then jump over to our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/entertaininginterviews. And around that page, you will see a link on how you can support this channel to be able to make that happen. Hopefully you enjoyed Entertaining Interview Season 2. We had a whole ball of fun filming it. Once again, huge shout out to Tony McDonald from Plastic Groove for the venue and also for the audio engineering, one of our major sponsors, and our other major sponsor, Tim Simpson from Nitro Film, for sponsoring us with gear. So, like I said, jump over to our Facebook page, check it out, jump in and help us out, take season 3 on the road, and hopefully we'll be seeing you guys again very soon.